answer your questions. So to begin with the Q&A webinar for today, I thought I would do a mini presentation about the program, and that's to complement the online info webinar that we have on our signature programs page. I understand that not everyone was able to view that before coming to the session, so I just want to answer the large basic questions, and then we'll have plenty of time to get down to the questions that you want to ask. And please feel free to type in your questions into the chat box, and we'll answer them at the end. Yes, and when you type your questions into the chat box, please message everyone so everyone can see, and it will just help facilitate this Q&A webinar, because everyone, not everyone is going to have the same questions, but people do have similar questions. So yeah, it'll be nice for you guys to help each other out. And if you have like very specific questions that may pertain to your situation, we're happy to answer those as well. But most everyone, it's probably going to want to know what you want to know. So anyway, let's get started. So our signature programs are comprised of 5 programs through which we offer internships at specific placement sites. We have the 5 programs listed here, and you're more than welcome to read about them more in detail and read about the placements more in detail on our website. And just to let you know how expansive our program is, we have over 40 host organizations, 42 to be exact, both in the US and around the world, in 10 different countries. Our signature programs are mostly available to sophomores and juniors. Most placements are for those specific classes. Those restrictions are not created by career education. They're determined by our donors and also by the host organizations who accept our students. So so they will indicate, you know, which class years they want to support or they want to have intern, and it typically falls within sophomore and junior year. The Lumpkin Institute is sophomores only, and we have 2 opportunities for first years that I want to highlight. And they're both within our global citizenship program. We have the exploratory time STEM kit opportunity in Uganda, and that is to teach STEM to high school students. And we have Aga Khan Educational Services in Uganda, and that is to work with primary school students. And for seniors, we do have 1 opportunity available to them, and that is EFA Robert Blackburn printmaking workshop in New York, New York. Now, with regard to funding, all signature program participants do receive a funding package valued at $5,000. Most of our placements do not include housing, and if it doesn't include housing, you will receive a stipend of $5,000 from which you will pay for housing, food, transportation, and other necessities that you may need over the summer. And if your placement does include housing, placement is provided by career education. We pay for that, and we give you a lower stipend of between $2,000 and $3,000, but the total value of your award will be $5,000 if you include the housing. And this is a slight change from last year, where you know, we would award students not necessarily like the $5,000 maximum. You know, we had everyone to like submit a budget according to their needs. This year, we've kind of simplified the process for everyone. We are awarding our maximum, which is $5,000. And if housing is included, you'll get the value of the maximum. Now, with regard to signature program requirements, I just want to outline this because this is very important for everyone to know what you're signing up for if you participate in our program. Participants are required to complete a pre-departure orientation. Basically, it's to make sure that you are prepared for your summer experience. Last year, we had a very successful pre-departure orientation that we co-developed and co-hosted with the Office of International Studies, and it was a great event, and we imagine doing something along those lines next year. And you also need to register your travel plans with the college. You need to complete a learning portfolio, which is your capstone project for the summer. It consists of 6 assignments, beginning with a professional development strategy that you write at the beginning of your internship. And then you're gonna revisit that strategy throughout your internship, and you'll do other assignments during the course of the summer, and the final assignment will be a final reflection paper. You'll get more details about that, you know, if you're selected for the signature programs. You're gonna need to write a donor letter at the end, and then attend a welcome back and debrief event in September when you return, and then complete a final evaluation. So those are all the requirements that you will need to complete if you participate in the program. And I just mentioned this because I just can't emphasize it enough, that this is what we expect from you if you participate. So our application process is open now. We want you to choose the program that you will apply to and the placements that you want to be considered for. Students can only apply to one program and may be considered for up to 2 placements in that program. So I just want to clarify that. If you're interested in a placement in American Cities, let's see the Field Museum, and then another placement within Global Citizenship. We have a placement with the Yves Saint Laurent Museum. You can't apply for both placements because you have to apply to only one program. And I mention this because I've been looking at the applications that have been saved already to date, and I see that that some students have applications open and pending for more than one program. And I understand that when you go into the application, you're going to see all the applications that are open to you and that you're eligible for, but you can only submit one application for one program in the end. If you have participated in past signature programs, you can't participate in the same signature program that you already participated in. So if you're a past American Cities participant, you can't apply to American Cities again for this year. With regard to your application materials, we encourage you to review the application rubric first as you prepare your materials. And what we require for materials is resume, a statement of intent, and we can visit the How to Apply page and look at the prompts, and a budget proposal. And this is just an exercise for you to begin to think of what your expenses will be over the summer. Again, all students get $5,000. They get a maximum award unless housing is included. But it's a good exercise for you to start thinking of how much your summer is going to cost you. You are not evaluated on your budget proposal, only your statement of intent and your resume. If you're a biomedical placement, we do require you to submit your unofficial transcripts as well. And we ask you to complete our online centralized internship application and upload all documents as PDF, as that is the best format file for this platform. Just so really quickly, again, the application closes on December 2nd, and students will receive the results on December 16th before you leave on holiday break. This is a very quick turnaround time. So you will know by the 16th whether or not you're nominated. Nominated students are required to write a cover letter for each nomination. that is for each placement they're nominated for, and submit a writing sample if required. And those are due on January 7th. And nominated students will learn final results of the process by mid-February. Now, to go to your questions, I'm going to take a quick look at what we have so far.
It's fantastic. People are taking seriously the requirements. So the questions that we have include, what happens if we're going abroad in the fall and won't be here in September for the debrief?
Sure. So that's a very good question. We have many students study abroad in the fall. If you are not on campus on the fall because of study abroad or other reasons, if you're not physically on campus, you are exempt from the debrief.
We had another question. Is the welcome back debrief just for students who participate in signature internships, or is it something for the whole Wellesley community?
So traditionally our welcome back debrief is for, it's for all students who are being sponsored by Career Education. And so it's for signature internships, for grants, for the grants program, for students participating in that, and for students who are receiving non-academic credit from Career Education. So we have three different groups of people who generally join the debrief.
But any Wellesley student is more than welcome to come and book an appointment with one of us here in Career Education to talk over how the summer went, what you learned, what you want to do next. That might be, for example, a wonderful conversation for a student to have with a college career mentor, or potentially a career community advisor in a relevant field. Excellent questions. As you know, Career Education is always good at and always keen to help folks think about what they've learned and what next.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Kate. That's absolutely true. And if you are not available for the debrief because you're off campus, you can certainly meet with your college career mentor or the internships team to do a personal one-on-one debrief. We're always eager to hear about how your experience went and help you determine the next steps in your career exploration.
One question is there an average length for the internships? How long do they last?
Yeah, so the question is there an average length for the internships? Internships are between 8 and 10 weeks, typically. And Lumpkin is a 10-week program, and that's standard for Lumpkin. But for the other signature internships program, it's 8 to 10 weeks, and your start and end date will be determined by the host organization. Career Education generally recommends that you start the first week of June and then the first week of August. Those are the dates we recommend to both students and the host organizations. However, those dates are flexible according to like host organization needs and student needs, if you're able to come up with an alternative agreement with your host organization. So there are 8 to 10 weeks, minimum of 300 hours. Those are the requirements for the internships and requirements for credit.
I have a question about housing. How do we know if it'll be provided or if we have to figure it out ourselves?
Okay, so as you read the internship descriptions, it will say whether the placement provides housing or not. I would say for most of our placements, they do not provide housing, but the description will say whether it provides housing. So I know I know that a few placements within our global citizenship program does provide housing. That includes the placements in India, also Puerto Rico, and there is one in Luce that provides housing as well, but it'll be stated in the description.
So we have a little, I think, not unreasonable confusion about nominations and what happens with the various rounds. Can you clarify that a little bit for students? Like, what's the difference between applying, nominating,
Sure,
getting it?
That's a really good question. So, so when you submit your application by December 2nd, you're applying for the program. The way it works is that Wellesley College Career Education staff and faculty will organize in committees and will review all the applications. From the applicant pools, they will nominate typically 3 3 of the strongest applications per placement. It's typically 3, but if our host organization wants to see more, we will send them more. Sometimes they'll ask for 5, but it's typically 3 per placement. And so if there are 2 placements available at an organization, we will forward the host organization 6 applicants. So essentially you get nominated, then when you learn of the nomination, I will communicate that to you. I will check in with you and ask you if you want to continue with the process. If you do, then we ask you to write a cover letter for each nomination. And also if there's a writing sample required, we ask you to submit a writing sample. Those additional materials are due January 7th. After I receive those materials, I will forward all the applicant materials, all the candidates to the host organization. They review the materials and will make their final selections by mid-February. Did that answer your question? People will know their nominations by holiday break, and those people who are not nominated will also be informed that they were not nominated, and they can pursue other opportunities, such as our grants program, which opens in the spring. The application for that opens January 27th.
So a couple of questions. One is, can you please give an overview of the different programs? How do they differ from one another?
Oh, sure. Okay. So a general overview of the different programs. So I do include this on the info session webinar that's posted online. So American Cities, those placements are largely, are all in the US and metropolitan areas. And they are across a variety of different fields. We have arts, we have like education opportunities. So it really depends on what you're looking for. Loose is specifically for internships in Asia. So we have placements in China, Japan, and South Korea. Global citizenship, we have placements all over the world in different regions of the world, and across industries as well. So we have opportunities in North Africa, in Africa, in Latin America, in India, in the Philippines as well. And that varies across industries. Biomedical, those internships are all at hospitals, either in Boston or in Chicago. So if you're interested in, science research, or public health or something related with the medical field, those would be good internships for you to consider. And then what's my other internship? So American Cities, Global Citizens, and Lumpkin, sorry. Lumpkin is the Service Learning Institute that is run by Civic Engagement, that is for sophomores only. All of those placements are in Boston with nonprofits. That one's a wonderful program. It's different than the others because it is all in Boston. The cohort of Lumpkin grantees, they all live together. That is a program where housing is provided by Career Education, and students attend a weekly seminar as well, organized by Civic Engagement.
And in fact, that's a good segue to, if housing is not provided, how do we go about finding housing?
Sure. So what a lot of students do to find housing is they talk to the interns who have done the internship previously. So you'll notice, I'm going to stop sharing, and maybe I can share with you the sponsored programs website. Let me see. Okay, thank you. Okay, so now you can see my screen. So let me show you where you can find a list of interns who have done the internships previously. So for each of these opportunities, okay, let's go to American Cities. We do have a list of recent interns. And I would say if you want to learn more about a specific placement, about the responsibilities that that the students did during their internship about housing. Where did they live? How did they find their housing? It would be really great to talk to them, and that's how most students kind of, you know, get recommendations for housing. Unfortunately, career education is unable to provide recommendations on housing. We do have an internships resource kit that you can reference, and we give you tips on how to find housing, but we're unable to give specific recommendations for each site. And let me show you where that internships resource kit lives, because it also lives online. Here it is, the Internships Resource Toolkit. So you click on that, and there's a whole section on housing. You know, students ask other interns. They find sites online, or find housing online through Airbnb or Craigslist or other sites. I do want to warn you that just be very careful with online postings, because there are plenty of scams out there, and unfortunately, and that's happened in the past. But I do plan on updating that internships resource kit to contain some information on how to avoid scams. So it's not updated yet, but it will be updated by the spring, by internships time. So I'm just going to go back to our signature program site, and we'll answer more questions.
So one of them is, how many applicants are there usually during the nomination period? How competitive is this whole process?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. So competition does vary from year to year. I know that's not a very helpful answer, but I would say, I mean, it depends on other factors. It depends on, you know, how good the economy is, and what other opportunities students are looking into. But I can tell you that for each program, like American Studies, Global Citizenship, Biomedical, we'll get at least a couple dozen applications per program, and that's across all the placements within that program. So I can tell you on average, you know, that's what we get per program. I can't, you know, break it down for you for the specific sites, but the best thing that you can do is to be very planful in writing your materials. Make sure that you're giving it enough time to go over a couple of iterations. Make sure you have enough time to get feedback, whether it be from career education staff, your college career mentor, your career community advisor, or come in during drop-in hours, or it could be from a writing tutor, or anyone that you trust to give you feedback. Make sure that you keep the prompts in mind, and that you answer all the prompts. I unfortunately am unable to review your materials because I'm advising all the students on the activities, and I organize the review process. So it's a conflict of interest for me to review your materials, but I encourage for you to meet with my colleagues in career education and with other faculty and staff on campus that you trust, and even your peers if you feel like you would get good feedback from them.
Do you mind if I chime in?
Sure.
So this is a question, this is Kate Dalinger from Fellowships. This is a question I get asked all the time by people who are thinking of applying for fellowships and scholarships. Applying for the signature internship programs, like applying for fellowships and scholarships, is always competitive. There are always more wonderful applications than there are opportunities available. But that's not a good reason for trying, because the two guarantees about the application process are, one, you can't possibly get it if you don't apply, and two, there's value in applying and learning as much as you can from that. That helps the next application that you write be stronger, and increases your odds of winning something in the end, whether it's an internship or other things. The skills that you practice in applying for something like this, you will use over and over again, because you'll apply for other internships, you'll apply maybe, I hope, for fellowships and scholarships, you'll apply for jobs, you may apply for graduate and professional schools. So the more practice you get, the better you get at it, and the easier it gets. So if that's the least you gain out of this, you're ahead of the game.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that. Thank you, Kate. And this is, you know, just one opportunity, you know, one internship program, one opportunity within Wellesley. Wellesley offers many internship opportunities across departments. Career education is just one source of like internship opportunities. If for whatever reason signature programs does not work out for you, you're not nominated, or let's say you are nominated but not ultimately selected by the host organization, you can apply for our grants program, and you will know the outcome. If you're nominated but not selected, you will know the outcome by mid-February, and that's before the grants application is due. So
what might be a good way for students to look for some of the other opportunities on campus? Is the Common Application a good place to search for other internships?
That's a good question. So we have this like Common Application, as you know, that we're using for internships. More and more departments are getting on board with that, and programs. Not everyone is using it, so you can look at the Common Application to see what else there might be available.
Check out departmental websites.
Yeah, I would recommend to check out department websites. So I want to show you here, actually, if you go under sponsored internships, we have step 1, explore opportunities. You can find information about other college-sponsored opportunities here. These are departments that we often work with through career education. Many of these opportunities have their funding administered by us, but this is certainly not exhaustive. There are other departments on campus, like the Davis Museum has their internships. The Science Center Summer Research Opportunities.
The Knapp Social Science Summer Research Opportunities.
Yes, the Knapp Social Science Summer Research Opportunities.
And lots of others.
The Freedom Project. So, I mean, there really truly are opportunities all over campus, and it's good that you're thinking about this now and planning now, so you can take out the time to suss them all out. I wish you were more centralized, and we're working towards that. We hope.
In the meantime, one good place to look for, especially research opportunities, is to check out the deadlines listings on the Career Education website.
Yes, thank you, Kate. Let's look at that. It is right here.
And so you can click to find different kinds of things. If you click on fellowship, because there are lots of fellowships, it will reveal search filters like undergraduate fellowships or fellowships for international students. Those of you who have heard the myth that there's nothing for international students at Wellesley, I'm proud to say it is a myth. And I'm happy to talk with students who are looking for opportunities. More things get added to those listings all the time, and we're really happy to help students look for more opportunities. So things like the Knapp, the Summer Social Science, and various other kinds of things. If you go back, Lorraine, to undergraduate. Yeah. So here are some really cool summer research and language study and other opportunities for students, as well as undergraduate fellowships. So there are a lot of good things out there, and we know it's hard to find them. So the deadlines listings is one place where we're trying to centralize a bunch of helpful things. And you're always welcome to come talk with us in career education for help as you're searching or applying.
Yeah, thank you, Kate. Absolutely. And we encourage you to apply to, signature internships, to other opportunities as well. However, with signature internships, because we have our specific program placements and our partnerships with organizations all over the world, we really need to maintain those good relationships. And so what we ask of students who are applying for signature internships, that if you are applying and if you're selected, ultimately selected for the internship, we ask that you accept the signature internship offer and fully commit to that, and rescind all your other applications that you might have pending. And this is actually one reason why we changed the application process this year. So last year, for the application, just so you know, we required the statement of intent, the resume, the budget, and a cover letter for each placement that you were applying for. This year we simplified it because we really don't need the cover letters at the time of application. We wanted the students to have less work up front, focus our efforts on writing an awesome statement, an awesome resume, and not be overburdened by everything. And that way, if you are nominated, you know, then we ask you to write a cover letter. We check in with you, and we ask you if you want to continue with the process, if you're fully committed. And if you are, wonderful, write the cover letters. And, you know, we will forward them to our partners in January. But we do encourage you to look for other opportunities and apply for other opportunities. But for signature programs, we ask that if you are selected, that you will prioritize that offer over your other offers.
And the reason behind this is?
Yes, the reason behind this is we have these long-standing partnerships with these amazing institutions.
And they count on us.
Yeah, they definitely count on us, and we want to keep those partnerships intact.
And the good relationships that you help us build mean that these opportunities will continue to be available for other Wellesley students as well. So we want to protect not only your relationship, but also other students' opportunities in future. So past fellows have done good things, and therefore the partners want more Wellesley students, and so you have opportunities, so we expect you to pay it forward too. Thank you for helping out with that.
Yeah, and we definitely want these opportunities to be a good fit for you. And so if you apply for something, and if you decide, you know, when we check in with you, if you decide that you've changed your mind, that you don't want to prioritize it, that's perfectly fine. Don't be afraid to tell us, because it's better that we know now early on than much later after you've been selected. So you know, transparency is important. Clear and open communication is important. We want this to be like as good as a fit for you and your career exploration as possible. So just be open and upfront with us. We totally understand if you ultimately don't want to prioritize this and you want to prioritize something else, but we need to know when we check in with you. That would be the ideal time.
Great. We have another question here.
Sure.
How is the stipend distributed to students to fund themselves during the summer?
Sure. So typically students receive everything up front. They'll receive all the money up front just because they need to, you know, put a deposit for housing, pay for airline tickets. I don't foresee that changing for this upcoming year. And that's how we did it last year.
Great. Do the sites for each program change, or do they remain the same every year?
Oh, that's a really good question. So, so the sites for each program typically are the same, but there is some change. There is some variation. You will see, for example, under Luce, we don't have ABC News for this year. We don't have ABC News Beijing. That site is going through a reorg. So they aren't able to host for this year. We are adding new sites. Every year for Lumpkin, we actually have some new postings that I'm going to be posting later on this week. So if you're interested in Lumpkin, we'll be adding sites to that for this year. We just had some partners confirm. I would say for the most part, the sites are pretty consistent. They might change, you know, year by year, though, a little bit depending on the organization's capacity for that year. Before every year, we kind of confirm with the sites that they can still accept students.
Great. That's it so far. Any other questions, team? You're asking really good questions. In the meantime, are there maybe advice you might give to students who are working on applications to help them, for example, put forward the strongest possible resume?
Sure. Well, I just want to go over, related to that, I want to go over the how to apply page. Excellent. And the application instructions. And I want to show everyone where the rubric lives. So you can kind of see how we evaluate applications. And this rubric has been very good in the sense that the feedback that we've gotten from the evaluation committees have been very standard. for the application. So this is
We want to be really transparent with you.
exactly. We want you to prepare the best application possible. We want you to know how you will be evaluated. We want you to get feedback from us or other people. We're in your court, so we want you to do well. Of course, not everyone's going to get placement or get funded, and that's what happens with these programs.
Put forward the strongest application this time and for all the other applications you do.
Exactly. And if you're not successful, please come visit us for feedback, because we want to share that feedback with you. Like, nothing's a mystery. Like, the feedback that we can give you might help you for other applications.
We have some more questions about stipends and housing if you want to tackle those. So when receiving the stipend all at once, how much can actually be spent and how much goes to taxes? And then we have a question about if we live in the same area as our internship, can we forego housing and live at home?
Oh yeah, those are really good questions. So with regard to the taxes,
our stipend subject to U.S.
yes.
tax law. So
if you're an international student, it's subject to U.S. tax law. I believe it's 14%. And actually, we do have in the toolkit, there's information about the taxes. So
how about for U.S. citizens?
Okay, yeah, so you'll find information about the taxes there, but international students are subject to taxes. International students are subject to taxes. U.S. citizens generally are not. And then
if we live in the same area as our internship, can we live at home and not have to pay for housing?
Okay, yes, but your stipend might be less if you live at home. Because
we're trying to spread the wealth as far as possible.
Exactly. We're trying to spread the wealth as much as possible, as Kate says. And we do the same thing with the grants program. With the grants program, we award up to $5,000, but if you live at home, if it's not a budgetary need, we do not award for that. So if you do live at home, we will not give you money for housing.
Good questions though. That's it for the minute if you want to dive more into the application.
Oh, sure. Yes. So going back to the application, it lives, the how to apply, and we were talking about the rubric. So you know where the rubric lives. We have our statement of intent here with all the prompts, resume, and then the budget. Again, you are not evaluated on your budget. We just want you to begin to think about how you will be spending your money over the summer. And we have this like handy dandy template that you can fill out. And, we ask you to kind of like put a description for everything.
So you had quick
tips
as well there too.
Oh yeah, quick tips. Let's see. Oh, is that the same? Oh, okay. Okay, planning tips and logistics. Yeah, just information on how to create a budget. So, yeah, so you can review that as you create your budget. So do we have any other questions? Has this been helpful for everyone?
You're certainly asking great questions.
I just want to say too, for your statement of intent, we want you to focus on applying for the program as opposed to applying for specific placements. You can be considered for up to 2 placements, and you can mention which placements you want in your cover letter. In your statement of intent. However, like we want your statement of intent to focus on why participating in an internship through American Cities is going to be like beneficial for you academically, personally, professionally. Yeah, what career exploration that you want to do, what activities or what academic work have you done to prepare for this opportunity. So the statement of intent is focused on you. And and it's supposed to be like a more holistic essay about your interests and your goals and your journey. Whereas your cover letter, if you're nominated, you'll have the opportunity to rate that for the site, and you're able to talk about, you'll be able to talk about like what skills you bring to the table for them.
And thank you very much for the participant who typed in that this has been useful. We always wonder, are we being helpful? So thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. And again, if you have other questions, please feel free to send me an email, schedule a meeting with me on Handshake.
Internships at Wellesley?
Yes, they can send me an email at internships@wellesley.edu or lhanley@wellesley.edu. I respond to both.
Oh, we have one more question about the statement of intent.
Sure.
Can we focus on a subset of the program and how it aligns with our goals? For example, can I write about how arts and culture is relevant, or should I just be general about the program as a whole?
No, you can you can focus on the subset of the program. We just wanted to make sure that you focus on, you know, the program and your career exploration, and we want to be sure that you address all the prompts, because what we saw last year was when students had to write both the statement of intent and the cover letter, we saw students conflating both, you know, and kind of confusing what the statement of intent was supposed to be and what the cover letter was supposed to be. So that's another reason why I think it's helpful to actually have moved the cover letter out of the process at this stage. And so yes, just, you know, you can focus on the subset, but focus on you as a candidate.
Great. Those are all the questions for now.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, you guys.
Good luck with your applications.
Yeah, good luck with your applications. Please feel free to visit us. We are cheering for you. We're in your court. We want you to have a good experience. And again, signature programs is only one opportunity at Wellesley that you can apply to. We have other programs for you, such as the grants for student identified internships in the spring. So please be in touch, and thank you for attending this webinar.